Often this time of year, we see sailboats in Lake Ontario. Under normal circumstances, Canadian sailors would be knee-deep in Canadian freshwater, practicing and tinkering with their craft. With COVID-19, everything has changed. What about those with Olympic aspirations? Today, we're lucky to have Olympic hopeful sharing his non-conventional training regime and his pursuit of Paris 2024. James, thanks for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So talk a bit about, I guess, because I can only imagine, like, to have Olympic aspirations, you've been working on this, I'm guessing, for a while, right? So what was this year's training like? Or what, walk me through the process of when you all this hit with COVID and you still have to train. Tell me kind of walk through the process of what you did mentally.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously it was a huge hit. This year was supposed to be a big year leading up towards the Olympics. So there was a lot of preparation. I go to Queen's, but I was actually only in one online class this semester because it was supposed to be kind of like fully focusing on sailing as much as I absolutely could. So it has been quite a bit of a blow, but yeah, while we're not able to be on the water, we're really making the best of what we can at home, doing lots of work on the stationary bike and taking this time to focus on things that normally may get put to the back burner a little bit, like a little bit of fundraising and working a lot, focusing on fitness.
Walk me through, taking the news, which, like you said, are going to be very difficult, but moving into action. It seems like, COVID now, it seems like an eternity, but it's only been 6 or 7 weeks, right? So what was it like to take that at your age and your aspirations? But then really what I'm really excited for and why I'm really happy to have you here today is just you started focusing on the positive. Kind of talk about some of moving into that action.
Yeah, absolutely. So like I said, it was planning on being a massive year. We had just come back I had spent all of January in Miami training for the World Cup there, and then a lot of February in Melbourne getting ready for the World Championships there, and then competing in the World Championships. And then we were coming back from Melbourne, and we were at home for a little bit, kind of getting back into school. But we're quickly down in Florida again for a training camp that was supposed to just be us fine tuning and getting ready for what was supposed to be the second half of the Olympic trials. So it was going to be a massive regatta in Spain at the end of March in Palma, America. And so we were actually in a training camp in Florida when we kind of heard the news, everything breaking out in around the world with COVID-19, and it was me and my roommate. He was one of my main training partners. Kind of, we were sitting in a motel room in West Palm Beach on one of the days of our training camp, and we were watching President Trump's address about the COVID-19 situation, and we were kind of looking at each other, being like, well, first of all, are we okay here in the States right now? And then second of all, what's going to be going on with Palma? We're supposed to be heading over to Europe in a couple of days. So it was a big blow, and obviously everything happened really quickly, and we weren't able to go to Palma, and we had to make a mad rush for the border from Florida back up to Canada. But yeah, focusing on the positives is really a huge part of what we do. We always say, sailors have to have a short memory because, it's quite a high variance sport. So if you have a bad race, one bad race doesn't necessarily mean you're a bad sailor. So you need to quickly forget about all the bad things that are happening and focus on the positives. So we're really taking that into dryland training right now.
Tell me more about just some of those adaptations. So, like, when I think of sailors, obviously I think of sailboats. So what are some of the things you do on dry land?
Yeah, so we always spend a lot of time on the bike. It is quite a heavy cardio sport. So we're always, even when we are on the water, spending an hour on the bike every day pretty much. So that doesn't really change. We're just spending time on indoor bikes instead. But the way we're keeping fit, and in terms of boat fitness, is something called a hiking bench, which kind of just it simulates the width of a sailboat, and it's kind of like a bench that you hook your feet in like you do normally in the laser, and lean out, and you can really simulate that static position that we need to hold in the laser class. So important.
Well, so tell me, I guess one thing too, because you're a young athlete. What advice do you have for others pursuing their dream during this global pandemic?
Yeah, it's important to kind of keep your eyes on the bright side, and while it's a time of doom and gloom right now, and there's so much negative press in the media, you got to just stay focused on your goals. So for me, for the past many years in my life, my goal has been to represent Canada at the 2024 Olympics, and that's kind of that's just what I'm focusing on every day. And if you lose sight of the big picture, then that's where you'll really run into trouble. So just keep your eyes on the prize.
Well, that's great advice, and I think that can be taken whether you're pursuing your Olympic dreams or even life in general, right? So I guess what network, whether it be here in Kingston, which I know you visit quite a bit, and obviously going to Queens, and the great sailing we have down here, or back home in Oakville, what network exists to help support athletes like yourself?
Yeah, I have multiple networks that I lean back on. That support me throughout my journey. One big one of them is the Canadian Sports Centre in Ontario, which all my fitness stuff and mental performance stuff, and all that goes through them. So focusing a lot on that right now. That's huge. And another net, obviously, is my family. My mom and my dad and my sisters are a huge support. And obviously, I'm quarantined back home in Oakville right now with my dad, but things aren't as bad as it could be, because they're really supportful, and then I have all my financial backers as well, which is a huge support. All the people who are on my email list, and everything like that are following my campaign every day, and really that also motivates me to keep going, for if not for me, for them. And finally, my training group. All the guys that are training out of Kingston, usually 100 days a year. They're keeping in contact with them and making preparations for them for when we can finally get back on the water in Kingston. Is it just keeps the spirits up, staying in contact.
And I think the last question, how can people watching, how can people support Olympic hopefuls like yourself?
Yeah, well, me personally, I have a website that people can go to, jamesjuhasz.com, and through there you can keep up, or you can go to my Instagram, james.juhasz, and click on the link in the bio and sign up for my monthly newsletter that kind of just keeps you updated with what I'm doing and where I'm going, because when things get back to normal, I'm kind of in a new place every couple weeks. So that's always exciting to keep up with me there. And without the financial backers as well, none of this would be possible. So anybody who is gracious enough to help me in that regard can donate through windathletes.ca. I go to James Juhasz, or windathletes.ca/James Juhasz, or directly to me through my website.
Well, James, you got me. I'll be watching you for sure, and I hope for the best, obviously, through all of this. But then, come 2024, my TV will be on, and I'll be thinking of you. Thanks again for joining me today.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on. It's been a real pleasure.